Do you know what I like to do to kick off Mother's Day weekend? I like to look at some baseball cards. I wanted to share with you something, an item that I got, a more obscure item that a lot of you may not be familiar with. So over the years, and stick around because I got a couple of nice care packages I want to show at the end. So over the years, they made a lot of different pins for baseball and other sports, of course. And a lot of the old pins, like your sweet Caporal or Caporal, I don't know how to pronounce that, but I hear it pronounced both ways. I've always called it Caporal, but you have those and the domino discs, and they were essentially like the early tobacco cards for pins, or the early pins of cards. So you could get a lot of the great players and for a lot less money than the cards. And of course, over the years, they've also had pins that were sold at stadiums to support your favorite players, or that were, items to send in, like for Babe Ruth, for example. These are like the pins that you would have had at the stadium. And you can get a lot of the great players if you want them represented in your collection and you can't afford their cards or don't want to pay that much for their cards. And it's a great way to collect. In 1971, they had these MLB pins here. And some of the rarest pins, I'm not going to go through them all, there's tons of them, but some of the rarest pins are the 1956 Topps. And these are fabulous. There's a great Ted Williams in here too, and a great Jackie Robinson. I just love the Ernie Banks and the Hank Aaron in these. I have several. These are tough. They're especially tough to find in good condition. So a pin set you may not be familiar with in 1969 was Kelly's Potato Chips. And this is the Willie Mays. Now, they were licensed by the Players Association, not the MLB, so a lot of the pins were. So these say zip on the side, and that's because Kelly's was known as the chip with the zip. There's a 20 pin set, and they did mostly Midwest teams, and they had Willie here with the Giants, and I think they had one Boston Red Sox player. You could go to PSA's website if you're interested in the checklist. I wish they had a Clemente. Probably the Pete Rose would be next on my list to get. But I thought I'd share these with you. These are way less expensive than his cards. Unless, of course, PSA grades it a 10, then it'll sell for $20 million. All right, I got a couple of care packages. First, Ed Monet goes on YouTube here, comments. E. Monet reached out to me. He said he had a Steeler item to send me. And wow, is it fabulous. Ed, thank you so much. I really, really appreciate it. But I got this Santonio Holmes autograph patch rookie card. Now, Santonio, of course, made one of the most brilliant catches in Super Bowl history. And he was a solid receiver. He was money. He was one of those guys that would catch a lot of balls per game and go over the middle. Just one of those guys that was very productive. Had a very short career, and I'm not even sure why he retired so early. But when he left the Steelers, he went to the Jets, and he was very solid for them. Santonio Holmes, a place in Super Bowl history, which makes it extra special. And I ordered some cards on eBay, and I want to give a special shout out to an eBay seller called Sports Card Classics. Sports Card Classics, all one word. And he reached out and said he watches my videos and he wanted to send me a stack of Hostess cards. I ordered 2, and he said he had a whole stack, and he wanted to include them, and sent me an entire stack of Hostess cards. Now, these aren't just any Hostess cards. So what they are is they're the different ones, and there's 2 different sizes here. And these were included in the individual cakes. I think the individuals, or if they sold them like in packs of 2, as opposed to on the back of boxes. So these weren't cutouts. I believe, and I don't remember ever seeing these growing up, but I believe they were put right in with the cakes, because they are almost always found with staining on them. And so, one of the ones I wanted to get, because these are hard to find. These are not easy to find, was the Goose Gossage when he was with Pittsburgh. And these are all in full form, so they're not cut out. You could cut them out, but, and maybe most people did. Maybe that's why they're so hard to come by. Now, these have a black line on the back. Now, it was always my understanding that the black line was only issued with Twinkies. So I have to assume, these all have black lines. I have to assume these came in Twinkie packages, unless there's something I don't know. And if any of you do, please leave me comments and educate me. Learn me something. Here's Keith Hernandez. Of course, he has the most Gold Gloves by any first baseman in history. What's he have, 11 or 12? And he was co-MVP in 1979 with my man Willie Stargell. He gave me another one. George Foster. George Foster was just a beast in the 1970s on that big red machine. Now, the exact year is escaping me. When was it? 64 or 65? Willie Mays hit 50 home runs. Wasn't done again until 1977 when he did it. I believe it was 77. Then wasn't done again until 90 or 91 when Cecil Fielder did it. So to hit 50 home runs back then was a big deal. My man Al Oliver, for the Hall of Fame, baby. A hitting machine. Ron LaFleur. He started playing, well, he didn't start playing, but he was discovered in jail. Committed an armed robbery or something. They made a movie about him in the late 70s, early 80s. Fred Lynn made a big splash when he came up. I was a fan. I was a fan of Ken Griffey. I was a big fan of Ken Griffey long before Junior. I even knew there was a Junior. Dave Kingman, King Kong. I did a nice video on him hitting blasts. Man, he would be one of the top players in the league today. Chris Chambliss, very solid player. You don't hear a lot about him. Rennie Stennett, of course, he holds a record for the most hits in a 9-inning game with 7. Blew out his knee, so it hurt his career a little bit. Phil Niekro, the great knuckler. My man Willie Stargell. Now these are some bigger ones. So I think those came in the twin Twinkies. Jim Rice, I was a big fan of him too. I watched the game live where Dave Parker threw him out at third in the All-Star game. The Bull, Greg Lazinski. Loved watching him hit. Kill the ball. Bill North. Good base stealer. I'm sure he led the league at some point. John Montefiusco. Bobby Mercer. Bobby Mercer is the one, he gave Thurman Munson's eulogy, then went out and played an incredible game right afterwards. Randy Jones. Good pitcher for a while. Pete Falcone, solid pitcher. Steve Rogers, another great pitcher for a short stint. Dan Meyer, and I have this hat over here, one of the great hats in baseball history. Dave McKay, I don't know Dave McKay. Sal Bando, one of the most underrated players in the hobby, I think. Sal Bando, of course, played on the great A's team, and his 1976 card, I just picked up a cleaner copy. I just upgraded mine. It's sitting over there. One of the classics of all time. Let me go get that. Just a classic baseball card. This is, to me, his best card. We have Gary Nolan, Jim Slayton. I haven't seen a lot of these cards before. Felix Milan. I love to watch him bat. He used to... Well, let me show you the card a little better. Felix Milan. He used to choke way up on the bat, like way up, like this much. Al Bumbry. Love to watch him play center field. Ron Cey, the Penguin, at third base. Jose Cardinal. Always had great hair. His 1972 in action, that's a short print and pricey card. Probably his most pricey card. Jim Barr. Don Sutton. I shouldn't say short print, high number. Maybe the same thing. Rick Burleson. Watched him play. Roy Smalley. Of course, his father played. Lee May. Rick Manning. John Denny. Solid pitcher. I picked up his rookie card, 1975, a few years ago. I think I got I think he has both the mini and a regular. I think I have them both. I don't know why. That's one of those 4-card cards. A lot of people don't know John Denny. He was a solid pitcher for a while. And Jerry Royster, and I remember watching him play too. So, Ed, thank you so much. I appreciate it. Thank you so much. Sports Card Classics. Check them out on eBay. Man, that was so generous. Unexpected. Great. You know, there's so many great people in this hobby, and a lot of times, and I fall into this too, we start to focus on the negative parts of the hobby. And, you know, it's hard to ignore. It's hard to ignore the negativity and try to zone it all out and participate, you know, just in what we want to participate in. And of course, my last video, you know, I don't know, some deep thoughts, some things I'm going through, some hobby burnouts, some things I'm frustrated with. And I just wanted to say, I'm getting a lot of comments, you know, like about people making mundane videos or whatever. If it came across that way, that's not what I meant. I was talking about the brand new people trying to be influencers who speak to us like we're, you know, 10-year-olds and never saw a card before. I was not speaking to the YouTube card collecting community that I know and love. But I think, you know, the one thing that I think, because of the YouTube algorithms, when I search sports cards, it's the same O faces that come up. You know, the investment channels, or I just made $10,000 in a day at a card show. You know, those kinds of videos. And it's so annoying because it's so hard to find newer channels. And there are a lot of good newer channels that are out there, but I can't find them. They don't come up in search. And I know a lot of people in our community will do shout outs and contests to point out, you know, up and coming channels or smaller channels with good content, or, you know, welcome people to the community. And I think we need to do more of that. And I'm going to try to do my part. I know I shouted out Fast Breaks and Breakfast not so long ago, and I've done a lot of shout outs and try to introduce new channels that I don't think have enough subscribers. David M, there's another one. I did All Day Cards, another one. I remember when White Sox collector came up, I give him a shout out. For Soft Corners. You know, I think we all need to do more of that. Let's, just keep supporting each other, because you won't find these channels in search. The other thing is, I've been thinking about doing a contest. I know a long time ago I had a conversation with Mike Baseball Collector about it. And that is, there's this, the habit of watching YouTube videos is you watch the new channel, the new videos. And, somebody might have 1,000 videos they did over the last 3 years, but you're only watching the one they put out today. And very few people, I think, go back and look at videos unless they're searching something specific and it pops up, a certain set or something like that. I don't know if there's some sort of contest we can run or something where you go through people's older videos and find a great one and share it with the community and say, hey, so-and-so did this video 2 years ago and it's fabulous. Check it out. Something along those lines. I know for me, I had announced, I recently did a playlist where I put together kind of what I think are my best vintage videos, vintage cards, rare cards, informative stuff, stories, that kind of thing, where, you could sift through the rants and the stupid stuff I've done over the years if you just want to look at some vintage cards. But you could put that playlist on and just run it. And, maybe, I don't know, if any of you make playlists of your videos to kind of binge watch, stuff like that. But I think there's new ways we can make this whole thing entertaining for us collectors, and at the same time, kind of revisit some old things, because there's a lot of content on here that just gets lost, right? So that's what I have. If you're a mother, happy Mother's Day to you. And if you're a father, or have a mother, enjoy your Mother's Day weekend, man. I know I am. My wife and daughter are, we have some people that bought a second house near us, and they're coming down with a few people, and my wife and my daughter are going to get with my mother, and they're going to have an all-day Mother's Day extravaganza, and on Saturday, and then on Sunday, we're all going to get together and celebrate Mother's Day with my mom, who I love, who started me out collecting baseball cards, and who's just a good person. And it's just nice to celebrate Mother's Day, and not everybody has the opportunity to still do that. So we remember all the mothers, all our loved ones too that have passed. I miss my grandmothers every day. So, all right, I'm getting too sentimental. Hey, thanks for watching.